Hi, everyone. I'm Sweet Melba. Thanks for joining me for another Sunday on the porch. So, the last few months, I have really been feeling like a chapter in my life is coming to a close. Just little nudges or thoughts that have been occurring to me, going and doing certain activities and just not feeling that that's really where I wanted to be spending my time, that there were other things I should be focusing on and doing. So, kind of like a time to turn the page into another chapter. So, I've really been thinking a lot about this, and I thought I'd spend today just kind of sharing some of my thoughts. And if you've had some of these, I'd love to hear your comments as well today. But I'm kind of feeling like I've done enough in this chapter and I'm ready to move on to the next one. So that's what I'm going to share a little bit about today. So I'm glad that you joined me. And I think one of my biggest thoughts during these past few months is feeling like, I've accomplished enough that I don't feel like I need to strive to get more done or to achieve something more in my career. And career for me has always been an important thing. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. But I feel like, again, I've done a lot of things in my life. I've done my education. I developed a career path, found a career path. I built a business, my own business over the past 20 years. I've really, focused my work on helping others and important causes in my community with the work that I do. And again, I feel like I've really accomplished a lot. And I think this chapter change is, maybe I'm done with that. Maybe I've done what I set out to do and I've accomplished that. So I kind of feel like it's been enough and I feel good about that. So I think it's the being content with what I've accomplished and what I've done and that's enough. So have there been things in your life that you've kind of thought, I've done enough in this area, and maybe it's time to look at something new, some new experiences. I feel like there's other interests I'd like to pursue at this point in my life, simpler activities and easier experiences and things of that nature. So that's kind of where I'm feeling I'm at right now at this point in my life. So the big area for me is really my career. I have spent a long time developing my career, and I had a video that I shared on my career path a while back. So if you're interested in that, you can take a look. But after 28 years in my field, I feel like I have really set out to do what I hope to do. Again, working with organizations and creating a better community and helping others, and then developing my business. My focus in business was always, it was bigger than just me, and working with organizations and consulting in that nature. And I've really been pleased with all of that work. So I don't feel like there's a lot more that I want to do in that area. And I think those are those thoughts of, there's something else I could be doing. But I've been recognized by the different, groups that I've worked with and organizations for the help I've provided, and I feel good about that. I'm thankful for that. I've helped other people, come along in their careers, being a mentor in some respects in that regard, and I'm glad to have had the opportunity to do that. But again, I feel like that's been well covered. I've kind of done that. And I'm pleased with that. So I think the big part for me is, just picking up on this internal appreciation for what I've done, but yet knowing there's other things that I want to be doing. And I think that's one of the big areas for me. So I don't feel like I need to strive for something else. Doing more, trying to accomplish more. I've been there, I've done that. I'm happy with that. And I'm ready to look at what's new. What are new things that I'd like to be doing? Recently, my husband and I earlier in the year took an extended vacation, and was really kind of where this thought process was coming from, I think, in that while we were gone, I wasn't missing the work that I did, which was different for me. And then more recently, I attended a conference in my field, something I enjoy doing and I think is important in continuing to learn and interact and network with others. And after about 2 days of the conference, I was really feeling like it wasn't as exciting as it had always been. That there was something missing. That sparkle on it, so to speak, was not there anymore. And so again, it's been these little things that have been telling me, it might be time to turn the page on this chapter. So I think that's where I'm going. So, some of the thoughts that I've been having about wanting to do something else is really a calling to be sharing my perspective and focus really on a life well lived and the simple things, the important things that have been in my life and my perspective on that. And, doing my channel, I think also is a way for me to share those perspectives and insights, and not from a teaching, advice kind of standpoint. Again, that's kind of what my career has been, but just providing insight that might be helpful to others in some way. That I'm kind of at that point in my life that I feel that that's where my contributions to others now is. And I enjoy doing my videos and sharing information and thoughts and feelings and just perspectives on life. And I say a calling, again, I have addressed this in one of my other videos in regards to the passing of my brother, which has been just about 2 years now, that I felt like there was something bigger that I was supposed to be picking up from his life. And again, I have a video all on that, but I think it ties into these thoughts and feelings I've been having of how I can better contribute by sharing. And again, a life well lived. He lived an amazing life well lived. And he's an example. His life was an example to me and to many others. So I think I'm bringing these two things together, his example and what I learned and what I thought was important to share. And then my own perspectives on my life experiences and again, how those might be helpful to others. So, again, I look forward to sharing and I hope it's helpful to others. Have you had thoughts of, what do you perspectives you have or skills, talents that you have that you can share with others? And are you doing that in some way? Maybe you do that in the work that you do, but is it something that you've thought about and how you might better share what you know and what you've experienced and your life lessons with others? So, yeah, I'd be interested to hear if you've thought about that or you're doing that in other ways. I think I've always lived and kind of focused on a simple life, simple living. I was brought up in that environment. I've talked a lot about, my family in Alabama and the examples of life there that I have just really felt very comfortable with. So, I look forward to doing more of that, being more intentional, I think, with that, in that I don't need to do more. I just need to find the activities and the experiences that I enjoy doing, and make more space for that. To really just sit with that, think about those activities, look for opportunities to do more of the things that I really enjoy doing, that allow me to again expand living a life well lived. And I have different areas, not very different from how I've led my life in the past, really, but really making more time to be able to do that and enjoy those activities. And I'm always very happy to reflect, to quiet time on my own. I've talked a little bit about that. That's a comfort level for me. I don't feel like I'm missing out or anything like that. So I look forward to that. And I think the big change is allowing myself to do that, to not feel like I need to be going and doing something more constructive, right? Um, Getting daily chores done and enjoying that and whatnot. And I shouldn't really call them chores in that sense, because I don't really mind doing stuff like that, but uh just really allowing myself to enjoy those quiet times and doing things that aren't necessarily productive, but enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to that. And it reminds me of when I graduated from college. It took me a while to get comfortable with not doing schoolwork, not reading. I had to do a lot of reading in my field, in the history field, but uh, it was like, oh, I should go read something, or maybe I should go look this up or whatnot. So it took a little while to make that adjustment. So I think this turning the page to the new chapter in my life might take a little adjustment from that standpoint, but I'm already noticing I'm a lot more comfortable with just not doing anything. Watching a good program that I want to watch, and watching it all the way through, rather than going, well, I've watched long enough, I need to move on to something else. So it's again doing less in terms of feeling I have to check off an agenda or a checklist, and doing the things I really want to be doing. So I'm sure many of you are at that point in your life, or maybe you're feeling similar things. Again, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that. But, it's those quiet things that kind of come to you, telling you that this is okay to do this, and that, you've done your other stuff. Um, and it's okay. So I'm kind of feeling more in line with that. So I am embracing the turning the page, turning the page to a new chapter in my life. And it's going to be a little adjustment, I think, and I have some things to get in order and whatnot. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at. And, I'm listening to what I'm sensing, what my thoughts are telling me, and tuning into that and being comfortable with that. So, turning the page on my career and looking at winding that down to allow more free time in doing that. Turning the page on, again, being focused on achieving something. I've done that, I've achieved that. I want to appreciate other opportunities, new experiences, new learning, more free time to enjoy what I enjoy doing, and more free time to enjoy just being me. And I'm looking forward to that. So, yeah, it's going to be a new chapter, right? I'm 50 something, so it makes sense. And I think I've just really have gotten to the point that I am embracing that. And if you have gotten to that stage in your life? I'd love to hear your thoughts about how you kind of came to that realization and maybe some of the things that you did to gradually turn that page to the next chapter. So, what does my new chapter look like? Well, again, I think it's slower, not a lot on achievement, uh, just really embracing some new opportunities, having the time to explore and learn things that I might want to look at doing, more time for travel for my husband and I. We, have some things on the horizon that we've been looking at doing, but really being more intentional with my time. That I'm considering, what am I going to do today? And why am I doing that? Where does that fit in my new chapter? And being more aware of that slower pace, intentional ways of doing things, and enjoying those quiet moments more. I've always kind of been in tune with what I've been feeling, and listening to that, whether that's intuition or the gut feeling or that inner voice, whatever it may be. I always think that's been important in my life. So I don't feel uncomfortable at this stage and these different thoughts that I've been having along these lines. I think it's important to do that and listen to that. I say a lot mainly to my clients. But when you know. And I think that's where I'm at. I know that it's time to turn the page to the new chapter. And, if you have been having thoughts like that of turning the page, what is that on for you? And, it's okay to do that when it's the right time for us. We know that intuitionally, we know that. And I think I know that. And I'm, again, very comfortable with that. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter. So, in closing, thank you for joining me for today and just kind of listening to my reflective standpoint right now. And, I think it always helps to kind of share thoughts like that. And I hope that others will contribute some of their experiences. I think, again, that's always good for all of us, that sharing and hearing other perspectives. And again, I'm looking forward to what comes next. And I'll be sharing a lot of that here on my channel. So I hope that you'll continue to join me. Maybe subscribe to the channel and be back for the next Sunday on the porch. So if you've enjoyed the conversation today and maybe it's given you some consideration on where you're at in your life right now and what you might be thinking and is it the right time to turn the page for you, I hope it's been of benefit to you today. Again, I thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next Sunday on the porch. So thanks again. I'm Sweet Melba. I'll talk to you soon.